Howdy, hi, hey. Marketing and Digital Media Manager at the NAA, Taven Wohlford here with one final talk with the President alongside NAA President Morgan Hopson, CAI. Morgan, it's hard to believe we've made it to the final one. Happy July. Did you celebrate our 250th birthday accordingly?
Of course I did. Absolutely. I can't believe this is our last chat with the president.
I
It's
know.
crazy how quickly the years flown by. So,
Yeah, over the past year, we've talked about conference show, all of our events, auction advocacy, bid calling competitions across states, leadership, education, just about everything happening across this association. But today, Morgan, I'm going to do something a little different. Last year, I asked members of the NAA staff to submit questions that they had always wanted to ask President John Schultz, last year's president. It turned into one of my favorite conversations across the year because it gave our team an opportunity to ask questions that don't normally fit into our monthly updates. So, of course, I'm bringing it back.
yes.
So, let's jump in, and we'll start with our newest staffer, Chelsea Pointer, our program manager. Chelsea wants to know, given how much our youth programming has grown recently, what disruptive skill or fresh outlook will today's next gen teens bring to change the industry?
I think, first of all, the growth that we've had through our next gen programs and FFA, DECA, all the youth outreach we've been doing has grown exponentially over the year. And I think that our membership will see that directly with the registrants we have in our IJAC program. But so proud of these students just for jumping in and investing in our industry. And I think, to Chelsea's question, I think what really they're going to bring to the table is the ability to adapt to change quicker than a lot of us
Sure.
are because they're adapting to change every single day. Technology's moving at a speed, our world's moving at a speed that they're having to learn and figure things out as they move and as they grow. And so I think that as our industry continues to grow and evolve, that they're going to be able to adapt to that a lot quicker than a lot of us are, right?
Hmm.
We're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to break things or we want to figure this out before we move forward. And they're just doing it in real time. And I think that is a testament to as well. Like you see these kids jump into this industry, a lot of them first generation auctioneers, and how quickly they've been able to pick it up and how quickly they've adapted or they've learned how to bid call through YouTube, right? And so
Hmm.
just the ability and the way they're able to adapt to new skills, pick up new skills, learn in real time, and not be afraid to try new things. I think we're only going to see that continue to impact not only our industry, but the way that they're able to move through life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I learned something about our staff doing this project with them. We love a two-parter question. So Chelsea's got a second half to this question. What is your top piece of advice for a young person who dreams of leading this association one day?
Oh my gosh, there are so many of these students that I know will lead our association one day. They're so
Hmm.
invested, they're so good, they have so many phenomenal ideas. And, to them, I just say continue to be involved, continue to give back to the industry when they can. If that means inspiring kids that are younger than them, even at this age, to do that. I think to show up, to be a part of NAA, to be a part of Conference and Show, because they're going to get that mentorship from our members who genuinely want to invest in them and see them succeed. And so I'd say, if you want to come and lead this association, you're absolutely capable. Please do it. Please invest and give back and join a committee when you have the ability to, or just have conversations with our membership who have been in volunteer and leadership positions. A lot of these students are currently in leadership positions in FFA and in their extracurricular activities
Yeah.
at school. And so they're getting that firsthand experience. And so to them, it probably comes a little, again, second nature to them more than someone who is more tenured probably in their career and they've taken a break from leadership. These students have been leading their own peers at school. And so I'd say that that's no different, right? Just continue that leadership and the ability to get involved and really give back. And truly, I'd say to those kids, like, know why you're leading, like, know why you want to be involved or, be in a certain position, because if you're not doing it for the right reasons, you're not, going to see the results probably that you want to see. And so just make sure that they're doing it to give back and to really invest in membership or invest in whatever organization that they are leading, more than they're doing it for the accolade.
Okay. All right. Jordan Krupper, our Director of Finance and Administrative Services, asks a similar question, but less youth-oriented. What should every future president of the NAA know before taking the gavel?
That it takes a village, that
Okay.
you're not going to be able to do it alone. And I don't think I came into this role expecting to do it alone, but I can tell you how grateful I am for all the people who have stood beside me over the past year. I think, as someone who comes into this role, one thing I just encourage you to do is to lean on those people who are in your closest circle, because they're going to help you. There are things that in this role you face that are unexpected. I think a lot of times as president, we come in with a certain, not agenda necessarily, but things just we want to see accomplished throughout the year. We want to continue the work the board's been doing and see those fulfilled, and that always doesn't happen. And I think those ideas that you're creating throughout the year, things that the board has come up with, strategic planning, just knowing in your brain that those always aren't, you're not always going to see the fruition of those in the moment. So our hope and what we've been doing as a board is strategically thinking, and I hope I see the fruition of those in 5, 10, 15 years, because I know that means we're doing our job, right? We set up a foundation to help this association grow. And so I guess that's a little two-part there for you, Taven. Two-part question before, but two-part answer here. One, lean on the people around you. They're going to be the ones, helping you get through the year. I have a phenomenal family, phenomenal team at work, phenomenal friends, who I've been able to lean on. And so, and lean on your board. They're there to help you get through the year as well. But then also know that when you step into this role, that a lot of the work that you're doing, you're not going to see finished and accomplished in the year that you're president, and that's okay. I think that means we're doing meaningful work. We're really setting the foundation for our association to continue to grow and thrive.
Yeah, I see it as you get to do what you're implementing this year, and you get to stay a member of the NAA and watch it succeed as you go on. And I think that must be a really cool journey that you get to be on.
I really think it is, because if you think about it, really the foundation that we're setting now, hopefully it's just amplified, right? And the impact's amplified throughout the next few years. Like, so after I roll off, even as chair of the board, I'm hope that the things we've put in place now are continue to be amplified for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And we're able to continue to grow and build on those things.
Yeah. Okay. Joelle Conway Jamvold, our Director of Communications, is wondering, how has mentorship shaped your career and how do you pay it forward?
I think, to your question of how I've been able to pay it forward, obviously, if you know me, I've been just in the thralls with the NextGen piece of the puzzle. And for me, that's something I'm just really passionate about. I love seeing these kids thrive. I love seeing them come into the auction industry. I love seeing them try new things and explore not only our association, but our industry as a whole. And so for me, I've been able to coach a lot of these kids or just be a sounding board for them. And I think just being someone who shows up consistently, or, answers the phone when someone calls, and that could be not even NextGen, but just our membership. I hope that I've been that person that people feel comfortable enough to come to, and that I'm approachable enough that people feel comfortable to do that, to just have open and transparent conversations. And so, for people coming to Conference and Show for the first time, to just new members in our association, know that our board, our leadership, we're accessible to you. I don't want anyone to ever feel like, oh my gosh, you're the president, I can't reach out. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And so I hope in a mentorship way that I'm able to pay it back in that, because I've had a lot of people pour into me. And so I just hope to continue to do that, not only for our NextGen kids, but people stepping into this industry, especially first generation auctioneers.
Okay. Can you expand a little bit on what Craig Buford, how he showed everything that you're trying to show our next gen kids, how he showed that to you.
Yeah, I mean, Craig and I's relationship is really special. I've known Craig since I was born. He's my parents' best friend. He's been someone who's been in my life, my entire life, right?
Yeah.
And so, always growing up, I saw him, lead in different ways, whether that be, civic work he was doing, or in his business or on his ranch, and just the way he leads. I've always admired that. And so after college, I had the ability to join the company and work with him. And I just think for him, just investing in me from the very beginning, encouraging me to go to CAI and get my CAI designation, and encouraging me to try new things and compete in the IEC. I just think modeling leadership and introducing me to the industry. He's the reason I'm in this industry. I never even knew the auction industry really existed, hadn't it been for him. And I say that in a broad way. Obviously, I knew it existed, but I just didn't know all the intricacies of the industry until I was really fully in it. And so I think just he's always been someone that's really pushed me to be the best version of myself, to really always, I'm a perfectionist. I like things to appear a certain way. I like to have it all right. And just has been someone, he's pushed me to kind of more lead with clarity rather than, hey, even if it's not perfect, if you're leading in a certain way, then you're doing your job, and it can't always be perfect. You're not always going to make everyone happy. But just the encouragement from that respect of, believing that I could do something, whatever I set my mind to. And I've been lucky to have that, not only through him, but through my parents as well. And I think when you have mentors like that in your life, you really do believe that, hey, whatever I put my mind to, I'm absolutely going to do it. And I'm going to give it 150% every single time. And if I do that, and I'm, at the end of the day, I can be happy with who I am and what I've done as a person, then, I can sleep well at night. And he's a big part of my life that's shown me that, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we appreciate Mr. Buford for showing how you can be accessible and approachable, and we've been able to see how you are passing that on to NextGen. It's fantastic. On to our next one. Jenny 09's accounting and finance manager. She wants to know, you grew up in a dental household, not an auction one. Over your career and your time as president, how has the auction industry allowed you to keep your family involved?
This is, I just think it's so much fun because my parents have really enjoyed being a part of the auction industry. And like Jenny said, I come from a dental family. So my parents are both in dentistry. And so this was something new to all of us. But they started coming with me when I went to my very first convention, and I competed in Texas in 2015, I think, I know that's right. 2015, I competed in Texas for the first time. I had been to convention prior to that. That was the first time me competing. And so my parents came to watch, and everyone was just so welcoming. That year, NAA happened to be in Addison in 2015, so outside of Dallas, and they came to Addison to watch me compete in IEC. And again, everyone's just so welcoming. And I think, when we say the auction industry really is such a family, and our NAA is such a family, I mean that. Because people have just really embraced my parents, and my parents have gotten to know our members and to know, my really good friends, my best friends in this industry. And everyone's just embraced them. And I'm so grateful for that, because again, I don't come from an auction family, but the way that this industry has embraced them and embraced me, gosh, we're so grateful for that. And so it has been, it's been really fun to just see them get involved. And even next year, I was like, do you think you guys are going to come next year? And they're like, of course we're coming. I don't have as much going on next year, right? I'll be rolling off as chair of the board, but they're in it. So in it for the long haul, which I love.
Great. Okay. Another two-parter from Jenny here. How can newer auction professionals pitch the lifestyle of an auctioneer to their own families?
I think that's just it, that this industry is a family business. Whether you're first generation, you're multi-generational, this industry really embraces families. And you see it all over the country. You see it within our association that we're not just a family by blood. We really are a family. And when you go to Conference and Show next week, and to our staff that haven't been, I think you're really going to see that we mean that. We want people to be successful. We want not only to be you successful in your businesses, but in life. And we want you to continue to grow and be the person you want to become. And however we can continue to support that, we will. And so I think, for someone new to the industry saying like, well, how can I pitch this to my family? Bring them one time to any NAA event. And you're going to see that people are just going to wrap you up in love, pour into you. People are just going to be so gracious. And it's hard to not want to come back to that. NAA, like Conference and Show, NAA is a long week, right? We have a lot going on that week. But you'll see so many people bring their families. And even though it's a long week and we have a lot going on and I'm exhausted when I leave, I'm always just so filled up when I leave too, because you get so much of that love and encouragement, and you get to pour into other people and people are pouring into you. It's just a big love fest, right? Conference and Show. Yeah. So I think if you're even thinking about stepping into this industry and you're having a little bit of hesitation, or your family is, bring them to an NAA event, especially to Conference and Show, because it truly does, I think, show the character of our industry. I'll say last year I had some family members that came for the very first time, my cousin specifically, and she is enthralled with the IC, and was just down there just bidding her little heart away. And so, I'm like listening to it on the stream because I couldn't be in the room at that moment. And I'm like, wait, that's my bidder number. Wait, that's my bidder number again. And so not only do they wrap you in, but it's just a lot of fun too. And so very family oriented, even for families who, aren't in the auction industry on the day-to-day or are new to the auction industry.
Yeah. Okay. Jennifer Vossman, events manager, wants to know, when members look back at your time as president years from now, what do you hope they remember most about your leadership?
I said it before, leadership isn't only about one person. But I hope that when people look back on my time in leadership, that they know that I wanted the best for this association. And every decision I made this year, everything, we've been through a lot, right, this year. We've had a lot of transitional periods through my time as VP and into my presidency. We've had a lot of change. And so I think for the most part, what I just want people to know is that every decision that I made, everything that we've done as a board, we did it from our hearts, right? And we did it because we believe in the future of this industry. We believe in the future of this association, and the legacy that we're leaving. And so I think for people, for me, hopefully just knowing that every decision again made was coming from the very possible place to set our association up for success in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And again, that I think from a personal level, just that people remember I wanted what was best for them. And I did everything in my being to set them up for success, or set this association up for success. And that they felt that I was someone that they could come to with questions, that I was approachable, that I was transparent. But really just, even if they don't remember who I was, that they remember this time in our association was so transitional, and that it was done with a lot of transparency, and it was done authentically. And that, we want to be transparent with our members. We want the best for all of our membership, from all walks of life, from all generational standpoints, right? It's a lot to look at when you're serving as president, to make sure that we are serving our members fully, not just one sector of our membership or community of practice. And so, I took this responsibility really seriously, because I know all the generations that have paved the way before me. And so I think just stepping into this role, that people feel like I did my best to continue to move us in a forward direction. That we weren't just stagnant during this period of time, that we really were trying to move things forward and set ourselves up for success. Again, coming out of a really transitional period and really a historic period, I think, when you look at the big things that we've done, new leadership, new executive leadership, new building, moving from headquarters, that all of those things were done to set us up for years, for 20 years for now, for us to still be a really successful association and us to continue to grow. And so I just hope people saw my heart throughout the year, and that I truly do care about this association, and that I'm so grateful, not only to have been able to lead this association, but I'm just so grateful for our membership and who they are and all the support that they provided throughout the year.
Bar none, the hardest question I'm going to ask you today comes from Rhonda Wiggins, Membership Engagement Manager. What's one conversation you've had with an NAA member this year that has stayed with you?
Oof, that's a tough question, because I've had the ability to have a lot of conversations with our membership throughout multiple states. Man, I've had so many incredible conversations. Ron, I'm gonna not skirt around your question, but I'm gonna take it a little different direction. I would say an underlying theme when I'm traveling to states and I have the ability to speak at different associations is that our members care so much about our association, and that they want what's best. And they may not always agree with the decisions that we're making as a board, or maybe they do. But they are so invested in the success of our industry and success of our association. And they want to do whatever they can to make that happen. And if that means calling me 1,000 times, they're going to call me 1,000 times, right? Or if it means calling headquarters to ask about one small thing, they're going to call, because they really believe in that. And so I think, as I said before, just knowing that I, as a president, our board, our executive leadership hears you. I think the conversations that we're having, that they really do feel like that they have a seat at the table, that their ideas can matter. And just knowing that the association belongs to our members. Mm-hmm. And so those conversations have been really impactful. I've had some really phenomenal conversations with some Hall of Fame members that have told me about their time as president. And so those for me really stick out, because they've walked in my shoes, a lot of them, right? They've been in this same position in leadership and had to make really hard decisions in their time. And so I think those are the ones that stick with me the most. But just hearing about people's journeys in the auction industry, and their time, I had the privilege of talking to a lot of members who've been in this industry a really long time. And so just hearing their journeys have stuck with me and have been really impactful.
Yeah. I think I thought it would be your most challenging question, because over this, as we've been checking in with each other once a month over this last year, I get to hear about all the cool things that you're experiencing when you are like going to these state associations. And Rhonda's question is, pick one. Pick one. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how you could have done it.
I don't think I can pick one. Like I got to see, I guess if I had to pick one, I had a really phenomenal conversation with Jack Hines. And he passed not long. I was in Wisconsin for the Wisconsin State Association Convention. And I got to see Jack, and we sat down at lunch, and I just had a really incredible conversation with him. And so if I had to pick one off the top of my head, I think it would be that. It was just a really meaningful conversation. And then the fact that he passed not long after that, I was grateful to have that time with him. But just overall, our members are incredible, and enjoyed visiting with them. And that's been, I think, the most amazing part about this journey is getting to go to the States and really get some one-on-one time with our membership, because just as well as anyone, Taven, at Conference and Show, when we see the majority of our membership all in one place, you don't get a lot of one-on-one time with people, especially like if you sit on the board, you don't, because we're go all week, right?
Yeah.
We're having a bean. So we see people in the hall and we're having passing conversations. But when you're at those states, you really get some quality one-on-one time with our membership. And so that's the part I think I've enjoyed the most.
Okay, great. Rhonda should accept that.
Yeah.
Now we have reached the CEO question from Allison Maisie. Allison asks, "What was your most challenging moment as president, and what did it teach you about yourself or about our membership?"
Whew. That's also a tough question. I think, again, we've had a lot of change in my time as VP, in my time as president. Obviously, we went through a transitional period with executive leadership, and so grateful to have Allison at the helm now. I'm sure you feel the same, Taven, but she's just been so phenomenal to work with. And so her coming on and really leading the ship for us has made the world a difference. And so for one, I hope that our members are seeing and finally feeling that as we come into one full year under her leadership. I hope that our members are really seeing, the fruits of our labor, to say the least. But I think, I don't know if I would use the word difficult. Like there have been some moments that have been more challenging than others. We sold our headquarters building at auction. We moved into a new space. That's something that we do all the time. And so the process of that for me of having a real estate auction, that's what we do all the time as a company. And so that wasn't tough. But I think, as we go through all these transitional periods and making big steps and really trying to move the needle for the association, I'd say one of the more difficult things is just really making sure that we're honoring the legacy that has come before us and really trying to continue to move the needle going forward. So for me, it was not a specific moment. Yes, we've had a lot of transitional things happen throughout the year. We've had a lot of historic things happen throughout our year. But I think for me has just been making sure that we're honoring the legacy of our association while still really trying to respect and modernize our association as we move forward. And I know that we always haven't gotten it perfect. We won't always get it perfect. But to keep showing up with that intention of like, hey, we're doing things from the heart and we're really doing things for the betterment of the association. And I know that, for our membership, sometimes that's harder. It takes a little longer to come around to some of the ideas that we have that we're moving forward with because they're not in the weeds every day like we are. They're not getting to see all the pieces. And so that transparency portion for us is like, again, I'm going to come back to that because I'm going to say, if you have questions, just call our board, call me, call Allison. We're happy to discuss anything with you that we can. That's not confidential. But that, working through the year and knowing that we're not afraid to reassess or we're not afraid to evolve as an association because we can't always play it safe, but we do want to honor the legacy. And so I think that's been, I would say, difficult to sometimes we're really in the weeds on things, but just making sure that we're respecting all of the history and all of the people and all of the foundation that, past presidents, Hall of Fame members, membership in general has laid before us, but that we can still continue to move forward as an association and that we're moving towards long-term financial strength. And I think, when you're at our business meeting, conference and show, you're going to hear a lot about that, but we're in a really strong place right now as an association. And so I think that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't have made some tough and difficult decisions throughout this past year, but that we're in a place that we're investing in our membership, in our education, that we're really focused in on our mission and our vision as an association. So I think, I don't know if I would call it difficult, but just challenging moments that I think for me, trying to be able to see the whole picture and see everyone's point of view. And we have, a lot of point of views within our association, which is great because it takes us all to make it work, but that we're really serving our members today. But then also every decision, knowing those decisions are going to impact our future members.
So if whatever we want to call them, challenges or whatnot.
Yes, sure.
This year of those, what has it taught you about you as the professional that you are?
I think for me, it's just taught me that, again, that we can't do this alone. Like, you can't sit in this position and do it by yourself. It takes everyone. I'm so grateful for our staff, because you guys do so much behind the scenes work. And, we can sit in a room in a boardroom for a few hours and say, oh my gosh, we want to do all these ideas. But it really takes our staff to make it happen. And yes, I think we have a very hands-on board. We have very hands-on volunteer, you know, community within our association. I'm so grateful for that, because we couldn't do it without our volunteers either. But just really grateful for our staff. And so I think for me, just knowing that the strength of the NAA, it truly doesn't come from any one person. And I think, through all of that, it's, collective wisdom from past presidents, from Hall of Fame members, just having the courage as leaders to do the hard thing, even when it's not the easy choice. I've learned that, just that it's not going to be easy. We're not going to make everyone happy, but what we're doing is for the care of our members, and it's to lead the association forward. Having the gall, if you will, to ask hard questions, and being able to accept the answers no matter what they are. Having, I think, this board, I would say, just has some grit, which I love, and that we're willing to get in and do the hard work and get our hands dirty, if you will, because we want to see this association continue to grow. And I think we've had a lot of that this year. I think we've been, through the past few years, been through the trenches a little bit, but I think we're seeing it really pay off. And knowing, I think, in my heart, and I think the board would feel the same way, that just truly believing that our association is worth every single ounce of that effort. And I would do it all again 100 times to get us to the place we are today.
Awesome. Okay, education manager Hope Aspenleiter wants to know, how do you see the auction industry evolving over the next 10 years, and how can the NAA stay ahead of these changes to ensure members remain educated, informed, and prepared?
Through the next 10 years, it's hard to pinpoint, because things that were, solid yesterday have already today or changing tomorrow. And so I think it's really hard to say in the next 10 years, really specifically, what we're going to see come to fruition in that time. But I'd say, obviously, technology is changing. It's changing the course of our industry. It's changing how we do business, even and operationally, day to day. That looks different. And so can't even imagine in 10 years what that's going to look like, to be quite honest. But I'd say for our association to kind of stay ahead of it, that we need our members' voices, right? We need them to have seats at the table. We need them to tell us what they're seeing in their everyday businesses, and what challenges and what they're going through as a business, so that we can help them succeed. And I think, as an association, in a broader, perspective, we can stay ahead of things for what we're doing through our PAC and through advocacy, because we're going to get a national view of what's happening in the landscape of technology and a landscape of other industries and associations, and we're going to get to hear that. And so that's one of the big things, from an advocacy perspective, and for us bringing in a lobbyist and having Catalyst on board with us now, and having them as partners, I think that's so, so valuable. And then also investing in our PAC, so that we do have a voice when we have a seat at the table in those larger rooms. But I think from our membership to letting their voices be heard and telling us what they're seeing and what's changing in their landscapes and their everyday businesses will help us continue to serve them from an educational standpoint. And then again, from an advocacy standpoint, if there are things happening in our industry that we need to address, that we have the ability to do that, because we have a voice at a national level. And so, I think for our members, it's really important. I don't know that we always do a great job of communicating this, how important advocacy is, and how important it is for our members to invest in our PAC, because that gives us a voice in bigger rooms in DC. And so to impact that. But I think also kind of just a two-way street for having open communication from our members and then us as an association to them. I think if we work together, that we're really going to be able to serve one another well as we move forward into the future.
Cool. Okay, cool. Christina Franz, COO, asks, when you're no longer president and you've got a little less on your plate, what will you do to keep your own momentum going?
That's a great question. I think it's one that's going to be tough for me, I think, because I was talking with someone about this the other day. It's funny. It's like a kind of a 6-year journey. And for me, it was longer because I served as IC champion for a year, but then an extra year because of COVID. So for 2 years prior to my board journey. So then that's 3 years and the other 3 years on the executive committee. So I've kind of had an 8-year run here. So it's really interesting when you're president and chair of the board, vice president, president, chair of the board, you're in the weeds of everything every day, right? So I'm on so many NAA calls and doing so much within our association all week, never not, right? That after you're done with your chair term, you're kind of like cut off and you don't know anything. And so I can't imagine what that's going to be like. I'm probably going to have I don't know, have the jitters or something. I'm not really sure what that's going to be like to not know what's going on at all. So that will be a journey in itself. But I think for me, getting involved in our community, I'm not going to be able to sit still, I don't think, for too long. And then I think I still love music, and so maybe spending some more time, getting back to playing my violin more and playing golf and getting back to some of my hobbies that I enjoy that I don't ever do anymore because I don't have the time or capacity. I'm going to enjoy that. And then obviously, spending time with family and friends and doing some of those things that, not that I put off, but just that I haven't had as much time for. We'll look forward to that, but I'm sure I'll find somewhere to volunteer or spend my free time.
Yeah, I think you'll be entering a season of rest and refreshment, but that is going to be a very short season for you.
We'll see what happens. See what that looks like in a year or so.
Yeah. All right. After all those thoughtful leadership questions, Shelly Urish, partner manager, decided to go in a completely different direction.
I love it.
Her question is, what is a bizarre or unwritten rule of golf etiquette that you secretly think is ridiculous?
Okay, first of all, I love the fun question.
You won't even get to take advantage of this next year, but I'll let the staff know for Mike next year. We got to have some more fun questions.
More fun questions, I know. Am I back on the IC stage and interviewing in front of all of our memberships? No, I love the questions, and this has been so fun, such a different direction for this chat. So I appreciate all the questions. Man.
Bizarre or unwritten rule of golf etiquette?
I mean, it's been a minute since I've been on the golf course, to be fair. I don't know. I mean, I guess one of the things I think of is that I get the rule, but sometimes you're not supposed to putt until everyone's on the green, but you just want to speed up play. And so you want to you're like, can I just go ahead and putt while you're still getting your ball onto the green? And so I get not stepping in people's lies or walking in their lie from their ball to the hole. I think that's one. I'm like, okay, we just need to speed up play here. We just need to go ahead and go, or just that, the furthest person out has to be the one to putt first. Sometimes, you just are ready to go. And if I'm waiting for you to get your club, can I just go ahead and go before you get your ball? Maybe that's it.
My dad and I will go golfing once a year, and we will flip flop between holes on who's Tiger Woods and who's Taven Wohlford, who's actually good at golf. One of us is always taking the scenic route, and the other one is actually staying on the fairway. Whenever I'm the one taking the scenic route, and he's on the fairway, and he is waiting on me because I am the farther ball back. I
Mhm.
get so ridiculously in my own head. Just, Dad, just play, just get to the cup. I don't care. So I'm right there with you on the distance thing when we're not playing for anything.
Right. Like
So
when it doesn't mean anything. I get it, like if it's in a tournament or like you're, playing for
yeah,
real money or something like that, totally get that. But when you're just out there and you're playing, this is also something my dad, sorry to my dad if you tune into this and you're listening, he will look for a ball, even if it's not his ball, for until he finds it. I mean, he will look for and he's great at it. We have tubs and tubs of golf balls at their house, but sometimes I'm like, hey man, come on. It's like
yeah.
he loves looking for a golf ball. And
I
it's just,
played golf in high school, and my parents would come to my tournaments. And my mom, I don't think she was watching me golf. I think she was walking around the course and picking
it's
up
just like,
balls.
yeah, right, right. It's just
Because I
standard,
always,
you know?
yeah, she'd meet me at like the ninth tee and be like, "Here's a bucket of 14 balls I found." Okay, cool, thank you.
Well, thanks. Well, I lost all mine actually, so I will take those.
All right,
No, it's awesome. Love it.
I saved mine for last.
Okay, here for it.
Before auctions, before leadership, before serving as NAA President Morgan, there was a young you spending hours with a violin in her hands. Is there a lesson from music that still guides the way you approach life today?
Love the question. Yeah, I mean, from the time I was 2 years old, I had a violin in my hand. And so I was taught initially through the Suzuki method, which a lot of those early lessons are about, you know, respect for the instrument, respect for music and the arts, and then a lot of patience, I think, comes out of that too, even for young kids, just learning like, hey, we bow to each other before we start a lesson and we bow when we're done performing. And I just think a lot of those early lessons that I learned through Suzuki, through music, a lot of that patience, hard work, putting in the practice, putting in the time and the effort. Um, I practiced every single day, never not, for years and years and years because I loved it. And it was something that I was so passionate about, still am passionate about. Don't get to practice as much anymore. But I think a lot of early lessons really taught you respect and respect for the people around you, respect for your teachers and your mentors, and really listening and valuing what they had to say, but then also teaches you just hard work and dedication. And if you care about it, you really need to put in the time and effort to do it and do it the right way. And so from 2 year old me to now,
Yeah.
I mean, I still think a lot of those lessons show up because if I'm going to do something, then really putting in the time and effort to get it right and do it the right way. In classical music, there's not a lot of a leeway necessarily of how
Nope.
you do things, right? So, yeah, and it's pretty. I don't know that a lot of people know. Like in that world, it's pretty cutthroat. And so I think for coming, from that to the auction industry, not lessons, but just an observe. Like people really do care about you in the auction industry, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to be successful. And not that it's not like that in the music industry, but it is kind of every person for themselves in a way.
Sure.
But I think because of that, it teaches you how to be a competitor and how hard work pays off. And not that our industry doesn't teach you that, but just I think those are lessons that I learned from the music industry, is that if you want to be really good at something, you've got to really put in the work to make it happen. And hey, guess what? There's no one else responsible for that violin except for myself, right? And so whatever's coming out of that instrument, that is up to me. There's no one else helping me make that a possibility, right? Like my teachers, my
Yes.
master teachers can set me up for success as much as they can, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that's like having to step on stage and perform. And so I think a lot of that I learned from the industry, and I hopefully has carried over into my career, to my career now as well.
You're so correct with everything you're saying about the importance of everything you learned through the violin. But I played violin from fifth grade to seventh grade, and I
Okay.
only did it. I only did it because it was the easiest A I've ever gotten in my life.
Really, that's
It
amazing.
it was 90% of the grade was showing up to the class, 10% was playing tests.
Okay.
I was showing up every day, Morgan, hovering the strings. And then when pizzicato needed to be done, I was plucking. I was good there.
I love.
I so playing test day comes around, and I'm just imagining 2-year old Morgan who's bowing after her performances, learning just critical like life lessons, and I'm in seventh grade hovering over my strings. You're doing the right thing. That's all I want to say.
I think, just different lessons, same, same thing. Maybe some different lessons coming out of
Yeah.
that. But yeah. I mean, I think
I
when you're that little, like just them teaching you like just listening skills and like how and that's one thing I feel I'm pretty good at is listening. Like I don't always speak first, and maybe that comes from the music industry too, or some of
okay.
those lessons as well, that like
Yeah.
a lot of listening early on, because I didn't know how to read music that early. And so we were taught to like always
Mm,
listen first, and then you kind of learn, and then they kind of slowly teach you how to read music. But a lot of it was ear training in the very beginning. And so, yeah, I don't know, just carried those over. But I love that
awesome.
you played the violin for a few years there.
I would say of that 3-year stretch, I played the violin for 3 of those months.
I thought you were going to say for like 3 minutes, but
It,
yeah.
it- we might be closer to that, Morgan.
Just
um,
hovering, like doing some
I was
pits
so
when
good at
needed.
pizzicato. I was so good. I
Love
couldn't
that.
get the vibrato down. Like I just couldn't. All of that. I think I
So
just figured I would get it right away, and I didn't.
you said vibrato, just made me think of a funny story. I did my senior recital, my senior year in high school, and my very best friend since preschool was there, and her dad, they were there at my concert, and he looks over at his wife and he's like, oh my god, I just can't believe she's so nervous. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, her hand is just shaking. Was it turns out I just was my vibrato. But he was like so concerned for me, because he was like, oh my god, she's so nervous she can't even keep her
Your
hand
little hand's
under
just doing that.
control. So funny vibrato story.
Well, yes. All right. I want to start this outro by saying thank you to everyone on our staff for contributing questions that help make this final episode something special. But Morgan, I want to say thank you to you, not just for today, but for every conversation we've had over the last year. It has been a privilege getting to help tell the story of your presidency and to share your perspective with our members each month. Thank you for your leadership, your authenticity, and for always being willing to have these conversations. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us throughout the past year of Talk with the President. We hope to see you at Conference Show in San Antonio. And you might have noticed I had a pin on my shirt. I will show you this pin.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. That's so
you
cool.
you can grab this pin at booth 401. That is Bid Wrangler's booth at Conference Show. Booth 401, you can pick up those pins when you get there for info booth and registration and all that good stuff. Morgan, do you have any final closing things for your final talk with the
Yeah,
president?
I do actually. Since it's my very last chat with the president, one Taven, I just want to say thank you. Like, you've been so great. I've enjoyed our chats. It's been so fun to do this every month. So thank you
Mhm.
for doing this, for the time that you put into it. You're always so thoughtful with your questions, and always know what's going on within our association, and allow us the time, and just to be able to talk through these things and share these things
My
with our
pleasure.
membership and with people who are looking in on our industry. So thanks for all the work that you put in there. And then I think just to our staff, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do throughout the year that goes unnoticed, unseen. Thanks for these questions, like the ability for us to just have this chat. I think it's a fun way to kind of close out the year. But
Mhm.
um, I just hope our membership knows how much work our staff does on the back end that no one ever gets to see. And so you guys are just so instrumental to the success of our association and our industry. So just want you guys to feel appreciated and know that we appreciate you so much, and all that you guys do to help us keep moving forward as an association. And then just want to say to our membership, another thank you. Like, a lot of these are going to come throughout the next week, especially if you're at conference and show from me. But um, just thank you for being there, believing in me throughout the last year, for supporting me throughout the last year. Again, this is not a position that any one person can do by themselves. And so we're successful as an association because of our membership, because of our volunteers, because of the amazing board that we have right now. And so just thank you for trusting me to lead this association and to have the ability. I'm just so proud. I'm going to get emotional already. Man, next week's going to be tough. But just
Yeah.
really proud to lead this association. I've had a lot of people say, would you do it again? And, jokingly, you know, I would serve this association again in a heartbeat. Whew. Just really proud to have done it and had the ability to do it with such amazing members. So thank you.
Last year, Alabama Auction Association, the state
Yeah.
association, gave John Schultz a crying towel.
I'm
Are
gonna need
we
that towel.
expecting?
I
Okay.
didn't even expect to get emotional today, so I'm like really don't know what next week's gonna look like. But
Okay. Yeah. I think we do know what next week's going to look like,
like
Morgan.
now
I think
now we
we
do.
can.
Maybe I can get it out right now and just have a really solid week with minimal crying. But no, thank you to our membership. You guys have made this year really special for me to have the chance to lead our association, and just do it. I couldn't have done it without the support of our membership, and they've been nothing but amazing all year long. So just so grateful for that, to have the opportunity to serve in this position. It's been amazing.
You've said it a few times that this is not an individual role. We couldn't have done this without you either, Morgan.
Well,
Thank you for
thank
this last year. Thank you for our members, and yeah, conference show next week. We'll
Can't wait
see
to
what.
welcome everyone to Texas. It's going to
Yeah,
be absolutely incredible.
yeah. All right. Well, giddy up, and we will see you there, Morgan. Thank you for everything this year.